our first thing that we talk about is C gap. If I have a C gap read, it means triple option to my quarterback. So C gap equals triple option. And I see a lot of times where people, I watch even games on Sunday. I watch Friday night film. I watch teams that we're playing against, we're breaking down on tape, that are letting a C gap defensive end free. They're letting a C gap player run free, but the quarterback is reading a second or third level RPO, and that guy's getting hit because we assume that C gap player is going to stay at the line of scrimmage. We assume that he's going to squeeze, and that assuming, I got taught as an early age, meant something. I can't say this on the PG recording, but I can't assume. I can't assume that guy's going to stay there. So we never stay in the pocket to do a C gap read. That way I keep my franchise, I keep my guy standing upright without getting hit on that play. C gap reading means triple option. So our first C gap read, everything the downward draw is going to be left hash. We are a field and boundary oriented offense. So left hash, we're going to do a field zone read with a bubble late option. So the way that we teach our quarterback, doesn't matter what front we get, doesn't matter what looks we get in the box on the back end, we're going to handle this thing. I'm going to draw this against robber coverage first off and invert. So this is robber, invert, and I'm running our field zone read. So we're going to push the zone to the boundary. All right, so we've got C gap blocking by the tackle. We'll try our best to get two double teams. H-back is going to three-step duck walk to the C-gap player. And then he's going to arc release the C-gap player. We used to call it a veer release back when I was in high school, those tight ends. And he's going to peek eyes to the mic. Because first thing that we've got to do is we've got to protect our franchise. And if they scrape us, you do not want a mic linebacker hitting your quarterback. So we're going to peek the mic to make sure that he stays in the fit. If he leaves, then that H-back will block his outside pad for the quarterback. All right, then he'll work up to the safety. We never touch the Sam linebacker with the H-back. Sam linebacker is on the quarterback for the triple option pitch, but we don't pitch, we throw it instead. Our tailback will take his inside zone path. Our inside zone path is just chase the butt of the center. We don't overcomplicate it for that tailback. We will have two different types of bubble out here. We can throw a bubble now, and that's based off the Sam linebacker pressure. If the Sam blitzes, we can stand up, throw the bubble right now. All right? I see I've got a question about what I meant by H-back. Our H-back is our fancy word for fullback. We put the fullback in the B gap in our 20 personnel set. So H-back for us is our fullback, tight end body. All right? And then back here, we're going back to the bubble. We can throw the bubble now. We can throw a bubble late as well. So what I'm going to do is the X receiver. We used to teach MDM blocking. So MDM meant most dangerous. We no longer teach most dangerous. We now teach D gap blocking. So that way all 11 are talking the same terminology. He's going to block the D gap fitter. Well, D gap fitter in this invert look is that rover. He's got to go right now and go in there and get him. He can cheat his split to help himself to get that block as well if we know we're going to get a lot of invert into the boundary. So now this is a C-gap read. So I'm going to read that C-gap defensive end. If I'm playing an odd tight front, the C-gap player is now the Mike because he's a little bit outside of that 4-eye. So I'm going to read how the Mike fits it. So instead of telling him this is a defensive end read, it's a gap read of who's in the gap. So the end takes the back. I now pull it, and I attack the Sam linebacker. The Sam linebacker is now my pitch man. That's who I'm going to pitch the veer pitch off of. But instead of pitching that, we'll attack his inside pad. And then if he triggers me late, I can throw the bubble out there late on that cruise bubble. So this is our first C-gap RPO that we put in on day one. Any questions with the zone read bubble? I've got one now that says, do we ever just have the X run a route? For us, when we're just calling this It's a no. If I want, there's other ones that we attach because everything for us is one word. We do one word plays. So they learned this one word play right here. If I want to attack that area, we'll have other ways and other RPOs that we can attack that area. All right. One more question before I get arc release duck walk. All right. So arc release duck walk. That H-back is going to inside, outside, inside, just like he was an offensive lineman taking his steps, like on the old board drills. So inside, outside, inside, and then he's going to dip release that C-gap player. Now, what we do is if that C-gap player gets upfield, that H-back, fullback is reading that as well. So if he's upfield, he knows the quarterback's going to give it. He's just going to continue on up his path through the inside now of that pass rushing upfield defensive end, and he'll find work inside. All right, so I'm going to move on now to our second C-gap read.